This video is meant for adult doll collector. If you're under 18 years old, get the hell out of here.
What's up, doll photographer and doll storyteller? And if you were wondering why I'm wearing the same clothes and everything that is looking like last week, is because I'm recording all the intro in the same time. So now you know. Anyway, so let's jump into the one-of-a-kind custom of the Reiner doll. So most of you have already seen it on my Instagram account, Eliverstown, but I wanted to have a doll that will be in different time period. Like we have the adult, the kids, the teen, and the kids, and there is also going to be the 1/12 scales version, because I wanted to create new dioramas, and I want to make sure that the dioramas will fit and not take too much space, and in 1/12 scale is going to be like obviously a little bit less. And there's a little bit of a size comparison of the different bodies. There's a Gia one, there is the YMI one, there is a kid one, and there is obviously the 1/12 scales. So for this one, I kind of already thought of making you know, the oh my god, what's the name of that again? Oh yeah, primer. I already thought of putting a primer on it, and gosh, painting a pale head sculpt is just such a pain in the ass. Like honestly, I had to come back over and over and over again to make sure that the skin tone will fit perfectly. Like there is at least 6 layers, maybe 5, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe 5 layers, because I really needed to be sure that it is pale enough, but you know, just the base skin tone with no blush, no eyes, no nothing, you know, just the basic skin tone. I was like, it's white, you know, it's not pale, it's white. So I had to come back and forth with the different bodies to make sure that it was the good skin tone. But one of the things that was kind of triggering me, truth be told, is the pale skin tone is probably one of the easiest match to create. Like I didn't have to change the paint. I mean, like usually I had to change the color when I did Malik, for example. The teen body is suntan and the Tibilik suntan is a little bit more darker, so I had to come back and forth, you know. But like for example, speaking of layer, this is one coat, well, one layer, the second layer, third, fourth, and I added a little one more, so fifth layer just for the base coat. Anyway, so next step is going to be the blushing. I'm really thinking of changing my dry pastel, because there is one box, like for example the one on the right is of a Sennelier, which is a kind of a popular famous brand, and this one here is more of a budget sort of brand. So I'm really thinking of changing this one, the basic one, because it has more flat color, but it's more difficult in a way to make sure that they're stick. So I kind of mix them both to make sure that it can be more sticky in it. So I apply this one, and it's supposed to be like the dark sort of dark skin tone. And I realized something while I was doing this, is that guess what? Blushing a pale head is a nightmare. Like pain in the ass part 2. It was so hard to blend the color. It was just such a nightmare. And I know that you were expecting me to say such a fucking nightmare, but I didn't, because I'm polite and not rude. So what I thought of is going to be like adding another color to make it more rich and easier to blend, and guess what? It didn't work either. So I did it anyway. I kept going and I thought, you know what? That's okay. I know what I'm gonna do. If this can't blend as I want, I'm just gonna apply another layer on it, which make it sixth layer. And it kind of worked way better because it still had the blush in it, but having another thin coat made it a little bit more easier in a way and more softer. So if you think that you screwed up and fucked up when you were blushing a pale or any other skin tone with the blushing, just think that you just have to put another thin layer of the base tone and it works perfectly. What I'm surprised of is that surprising is quite a big word. But what I love about watching this again is just think that, fuck, I'm so stubborn. Like honestly, I could just give up and try to make another, you know, shade for the blushing. But no, I thought I'd, well, you know what, it's fucked up, so let's fuck everything. Not stop. By the way, this is the teenager head sculpt. But I think you all figured, I guess. Did you all figure? I hope you did. So yeah, as always, it comes with different face expressions, even though I did a little bit more soft in a way because the kid have 3 different face expression, which is going to be the neutral, as you can see him right here. There is going to be a sleepy one with his eyes closed, and the angry one with like the Wolverine type of face expression, as I like to call it. I didn't want to have much more because it doesn't need to have many of it, because it's not going to be like the main subject to get on the pass and seeing the kids version, but more of like lots of sort of little blink here, wink here, you know. And for the teen face expression, oh my god, my bad. The kid have 4 because there is also the smile one. So neutral, sleep, angry, and smile, which were the basic one. And for the teen, there is 5 different face expression: smile, neutral, angry, sleep, and I forgot the other one was what. I think it was surprise, but I'm not sure. But for the adult one, since it's gonna be like the main one that we're gonna see many more time, there's around 12 or 14 head. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because I started repainting on 1/12 scales, but I feel more comfortable in 1/12 than I am in 1/6, if that makes sense, because it's a little bit more smaller. But I think that since I started repaint on the 1/12, I guess it could explain why it's easier, at least in my opinion. And yeah, I started to talk about the skin tone earlier on the body, and I didn't conclude that. So the thing is that pale body, it was just mind-blowing to realize that the 4th that I had for this particular case of Reiner, the 4th body have almost the exact shade. And I was just mind blown because it's just, you know, it's 4 different brands. Like none of them are from the same company, and it all matched. I was just kind of mind blown about that, if that makes sense. Because every time that I see suntan, for example, suntan, every little brand and every big brand or whatever you want to call it, have a different, you know, shade. Oh, and this is how it looks after I did another the thin layer that I was talking about. So I'm just adding more for the cheek to have it a little bit more reddish or pinkish. And now it's time to add more details, starting with the eyes. I really like to do that in a row so I don't like stop in the middle, and it's so much work to do. But that being said, for the next project, Noah, that I've made, I was kind of happy in a way because I had a clock and I put that on the screen so I can actually see how much time I did a repaint. Anyway, so now time to paint the eyebrow as well. And I'm using acrylic paint if you need to know that. It's really funny to see that it's really like one by one and really feel like a little worker, you know? I don't know, like a factory worker. So now that is done, I was thinking for him to create, I don't know what's the word in English, we call it veron, eye veron. Like when you have one eye, yeah, fuck's sake. Different eye color. Like one is gonna be blue and the other one is gonna be brown. But yeah. I don't know what's the word in English. I should have to take a look on Google to know. So yeah, the right eye is gonna be blue and the left eye is gonna be brown. And what I'm doing now is sort of creating a little fade because I wanted him to have sort of a punk-ish because he's when he was a teenager he had this kind of punk-ish emo vibes, and I really wanted to have sort of this kind of vibes when it comes to the haircut. So a little bit less more classic when it comes to his youth. And since Malik have dark hair, I thought his partner and friend should have, at least close friend, should have blonde hair. Because I like to have some opposition. And to create the blonde color, I don't know if you saw that, but I've mixed one color called mustard with a little pink pastel and white color, and the pink is kind of used to make it look like a little bit less yellowish. So if you want to create a blonde hair character and it has molded hair and you want to have blonde hair, I highly suggest to mix a little bit of pink purple in your color to make it look like a less like yellowish. And this is going to be the color for the hair of the team because I wanted him to have sort of pop color in the hair. And just so you know, it wasn't supposed to look like this. It should have been more purple-ish, more like pink purple-ish, and it turned out to be more like blue purple. It is what it is. Sometimes things go in a direction and you just have to follow the lead. And also, truth be told, I think it was at that moment when I was so focused on it and spent so much time doing it that I just thought, you know what? It will be fine. I don't want to waste time fixing something that is actually looking good. And now with a darker brown, and now with a little brown, I'm just gonna define the eye line, if that makes sense. You know, the eye contour. Oh my god, I'm so tired. So yeah, the eye contouring or whatever you want to call it, just to define the eyes. And since he is blonde, he shouldn't have like dark black or whatever. I wanted something more soft. I'm honestly super hype about this project in a way because the fact that there is going to be like 4 time period, maybe not 4 because there was only 3, but it could have been 4 if I had an old body, which would be pretty cool. But being able to travel in the past and just have those different timelines, I just find it so much more interesting in storytelling. And even for the dioramas, for example, I can just have like photos of him when he was a kid and frame them. And I don't know, just something that's pretty interesting to do. And even if you have like Matilda, for example, you can still use Keeper, Chelsea, and the main Barbie, or for example, the Barbie family, and having a concept, for example, of the Barbie family grandmother, like being the one telling about her story and sharing about her youth, when she was like using the Millie face or any other Barbie face, and still talk about her teenage time when she was like, and you can use the Skipper doll, or when she was a kid, and then you use the Chelsea doll. You know, like going back and forth in time, and just feel like there is much more possibilities when it comes to storytelling. I just love that project for that. Especially if you have the body to use it. I mean, I know I'm gonna repeat myself, but I'm all about articulation. That thing is really important for me to have a body that is fully articulated and just for provability and other things. And when you have this possibility to have articulated figure that you can travel in the past and tell a complete story of a character, man, go for it. And so the pièce de résistance, the lips, is now going to be repaint. And I'm using the watercolor pencil for the lips, even though I know that some people actually use pastel to color the lips, but I just found it more easy, in my opinion, to directly use a watercolor pencil. And now the black dot on the eyes to create more depth and realism to the eyes. Yeah, it happened that I actually took the sleek one to make the the black dot. Don't ask. It happened. Sometimes you just, I know, like, I just go with the flow and then forgot that, yeah. You don't need to do that for, whatever. Oh, and there's also this little detail that there is going to be for the teen one, and it's this little piercing on the nose. There is something about that piercing, and I just recently just realized that is that many of my doll figure have a piercing at the nose, and I don't have it because I'm too scared to have it. But I just love making my doll having piercing. The problem is that I'm using silicone bodies for the adult, and it's kind of hard to do a tattoo on it. So that's probably why instead of having tattoo, I'm gonna have piercing, if that makes sense, for adults, obviously. But I'm kind of, like needle phobic. So every time that I'm thinking about having a tattoo or a piercing, it's freaking me out so much. And now we have to do the adult version because you probably are wondering, or maybe not, but I only had to repaint the 1/12 scale, the kid version, and the adult version, and it's simply because I didn't print all the head together. There was still some head missing, so I had to do it in two parts. But we basically already saw this with the kid and the child, and fuck's sake. But we already seen the process with the team, the kid, and 1/12 scale, so I'm just gonna skip a little bit more forward. So now what I did was to mix some medium gloss with a little bit of pink pastel and to add it for the lips. And this kind of gave more of some kind of depth. I don't know, just having some more color pop in the lips and having more of a pinkish kind of vibrant lip color. And since it's medium gloss, it's not going to be too glossy. The UV clear resin for the eyes to have more gloss in it. So what I usually do, because the iris is a little bit curved, So it's usually to drop just one little drop inside of this iris and then just blend it a little bit to spread the UV resin. And this is it. We got the Reiner final version, kids, teen, 112, and the adult one. Man, I'm just really, I know I said it already, but I'm really loving the fact that there is going to be four, I don't know why I keep saying four, but maybe because there's the 112 skeleton. 3 different time period of his life showing in the doll for the story. I'm just happy about that. And the fact that there is different face expression is going to be so funnier to play along with and to create more realism when it comes to the doll for the story as well. So if you like this video, you know what to do. And I hope to see you next week for another video in Elias Albers. Bye!